quiz basket. Actually, Lindsay's not that great. But they did. I see they do some praise there.
All right, we'll call this meeting to order. If you can, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Commissioner Miller, would you lead us in prayer?
Yes, sir. Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful evening. Thank you for the approaching warm weather. We're very grateful for that at this time of year. We pray over tonight's meeting and over our city that all that is done here and discussed and deliberated over might be done for the good of today's residents and those of the future, for putting together the best plan possible for the betterment of the city. We pray for tonight's proceedings, all the projects we're working on. We ask that you bless those. And God, help us to remain focused on the reason we're here, and that is serving others. Help us to do that well and guide us in that effort. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Roll call, City Clerk.
Commissioner Burr.
Here.
Commissioner Boring.
Here.
Commissioner Wiki.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Harrington.
Here.
Commissioner Abs.
Here.
Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mullins.
Present.
Mayor Perez.
Here. Next on the agenda is proclamations and presentations. We don't have any. We'll move on to the visitor section. If there's any visitors here tonight that would like to make a public comment for items not listed on the agenda, please step forward to the podium. I see none. Moving on with the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
So we have a motion. Support. And support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Next on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
So we have motion. Support. And support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Moving on to unfinished business. And we have the drop ordinance second reading and policy approval. Mr. Andrew Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners. The last meeting, we held a first reading of the Deferred Retirement Option Plan Drop Program ordinance related to certain, for certain positions at the city. So this ordinance would team up with a policy related to drop, outline that supplemental benefit program for employees who are in positions identified by the city, eligible to retire, but may choose to postpone their retirement. As we've discussed, this would allow them to continue to receive their full wages and benefits, but receive a drop payment that tied in to their pension calculation as they continued employment for a set period of time. Sent with the packet on Friday was basically the same ordinance that you had seen before, as well as the same policy that you had seen previously. I sent out a revised copy both to the City Commission and to the Retirement Board that was redlined with some changes that were done by legal review. Most of those were relatively minor structural changes to the ordinance, maybe some wording changes, things of that nature. The only, what I would consider substantive change, was adding a definition of cause. If you recall, one of the things that we included in there was that if an employee was terminated by reasons other than cause, we have to provide 3 months notice if we're terminating them out of the drop program or terminating that position, which would end their drop early. This would just provide a definition of cause so that it was very clear if we weren't providing notice why that was. And so that, that definition was included, not limited to things like theft or embezzlement, negligence, fraud, workplace violence, harassment, violations of city policy or federal, state, local law, poor performance, or failure to substantially perform assigned duties. So that's the definition of cause that we put in there. That's the only major change. What we'd be looking for is a second reading of the ordinance portion and approval, as well as approval of the policy, which we previously reviewed with commission. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Andrew?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Sturgis City Commission consider this the second reading of and approve an amendment to the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Article 3, Division 2, Retirement System, adding Section 279 pertaining to the Deferred Retirement Option Plan drop program effective March 13th, 2026.
So we have a motion
Second.
and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve the Deferred Retirement Option Plan drop program policy as presented.
So we have a motion
Second.
and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, under new business, is the 2025 street construction phase services, Mr. Barry Doss. Welcome, Barry.
Thank you, Mayor. So we're going to go back in time to 2025, actually. So 2025 street reconstruction phase services proposal, professional proposal is before you this evening from Place of Annenbrink to cover construction oversight for the remainder of the 2025 street program that's expected to kick back up at the end of April. When we originally awarded the project, we thought that we could address the needs for this project in-house with oversight. Since that time, we have lost a technician out of the engineering department as far as staffing and have yet to fulfill that particular position back again. So this is being brought forth to try to handle the projects that we will have come springtime. And so it will be an additional amount beyond what was originally projected for the cost for this particular project. The amount for this amendment number 7A is $53,530. So with that, I guess I'll try to answer any questions you may have about this particular professional services amendment.
Any questions for Barry?
I've got some. So are we gonna finish all the ones that were on that list? Market Street, Newman first, North Prospect. I had a question on North Prospect because in November, we agreed to go with a different proposal as far as we included Washington Street, North Prospect Street. So I don't know if we're going to do North Prospect in 27 or we're going to do it in this round.
So do you have any idea, Commissioner Berger, on what the date is on that particular spreadsheet? Because that appears to be something older.
2025 millimeter surface program. Would you like a copy?
Sure.
Okay.
It may have been a preliminary list. We can go through it.
Because they're all in need of it, so.
Unquestionably. So the milestone streets for milestone 1 streets, which we wanted to have the contractor complete in the fall, were completed in the fall. So that included North Clay, South Electric, West Electric, and Cornelia. So those 4 segments were completed. The remainder of this project, as awarded, includes Market Street, the entirety, all those segments. It does not include First Street. It does not include Newman Street. It does not include North Prospect Street. North Prospect is anticipated and is part of the design work for 2027, which is going to hopefully get paved in October of this year.
Okay.
It does include South Nottawa. It does include Fawn River Road. It does include Grove. It does not include South Jefferson. And it, yeah, that looks to be, oh, it should have Prairie on it too. So I am really, doesn't have a date on this, so I really don't have any idea when this was produced. There were
Mhm.
several renditions, and this was not what was brought to commission originally as part of the 2025 Streets Rehabilitation Program. So this is not what you guys awarded in September 24th.
Okay. But we're sorely in need of fixing them as soon as possible. And I'm sure you wouldn't, and add to that, Ivanhoe Street and Wenzel Street are also two of them that are severely needed, immediate milling and resurfacing.
So Wenzel right now is part of a small urban project plan for 2028.
Won't last that long. That street's
I'd
gonna
be
worse than
surprised how
St.
long
Joe.
things do last. If you look at St. Joe, it needed to be done 10 years prior to when it was done. Once roads get to a certain condition, they don't decline nearly as fast once they reach that level. What portion, Commissioner Burr, are you referencing on Wenzel?
All of it.
All of it? Okay, well, that's the project right now.
That's for 28?
That's for 28.
That's too far out. Anything from the second precinct commissioners? Have you been down the road lately?
I have been down there. Appreciate the patching they've done to it. I will say the
That's funny.
noise on Facebook right now is about Congress Street, over by
Famous.
Nottawa.
I did see that.
I know where-
I did see your response too. That's good.
Well, it's right there at the intersection of Nottawa.
How would you guess the right?
Doesn't bother me because I always go in the other lane.
That's what I do.
That's what a lot of traffic does if nobody else is present.
Right, right.
That's pretty horrendous. But
Yeah. It's weird because the rest of the road is,
So, you know, the reason that these particular street segments were on the original proposed list was because, as you said, they need it.
mhm.
Condition is such that it's warranted. But we have certain monies and they only go as far as what they go.
Well, I guess there's only so much money per year. We couldn't do, you're doing everything in a reasonable priority list that you put time into and that Fleece and Vandenbrink assist with. We only have so much money to do so much per year, right?
We're
Or else we would
balancing,
need to
I
increase
mean,
our
we're
millage.
balancing priorities on major road projects, the types of mills and resurface that are included in street programs, other road treatments throughout the year. These are things that we talk about through the budget process. We're hopeful with some of the changes in the state budget, we may be seeing more dollars for road projects at the major and local level with Act 51 dollars. We may have the opportunity to enhance projects going forward, but I think at this point, that's going to be a commission prioritization. How much
Yeah.
money do you want to put into the streets from what we have? Do you want to put in extra money? Those will be questions that we can certainly talk about during the budget process. And if there's roads that you think are critical, we can talk about them.
You know, one of the things that we've been talking about internally is, are we getting any actual additional funding yet this fiscal year?
Yeah, when?
From the state, and when? Because we did have some ideas on doing that. One of those particular options was to look at Ivanhoe. But again, it's the question on Ivanhoe, what level of service do you want to accomplish there? We can mill and resurface it and do nothing else. That's the very base level. There's an intermediate level where we look at the potential to add sidewalks in the future, or there's an upper level, which is almost practically a reconstruction. And obviously, each level is significantly higher in cost.
And curb and gutter.
I wouldn't necessarily even
wouldn't?
look at the entirety of the curb and gutter there. It's 1950s curb and gutter, which is not the oldest that we see, and it's not a major street. So we've pretty much been sliding away from the idea of reconstructing local streets to as much as we can, trying to focus that effort on major streets. I know Ivanhoe may act like a major street in some respects.
Well, it used to be quite a major street when you could drive down it, but now it's so bad. It's just like Nottawa, and just like South Centerville Road. Everyone's coming down Nottawa rather than go down South Centerville. Everyone knows why, because there's a crapshoot going down South Centerville.
Right.
So they come down South Street and then, Yeah.
Does lead service lines have anything to do with decisions too on which roads were taken care of, or does that not
Well,
really
I
matter?
think, I don't know about the commission's perspective on it, but I think it has to,
Sure.
because certainly you can't just go in and go down the street, do all that work underground, and then patch it, and then leave it. I mean, it's already, these streets are already in poor condition that we have to do this work on, so it doesn't, why wouldn't you resurface it once you've completed that work?
Right.
And conversely, you don't want to do streets that you maybe aren't going to be doing lead service lines on, or aren't going to be doing lead service lines on soon, because now you're
Now you're paying twice.
paying twice if you have to go back and do something.
And everybody already knows you can't do it, you can't hardly afford to do it once, let alone doing it twice.
Barry,
So-
when do you anticipate Ivanhoe going on the schedule?
Again, that's.
If we get it, if
I
we
mean,
get a
not-
win,
not-
if
not
we
the
get the
whole
money,
street.
if we get the money
Not the
that
whole
was
street.
projected when we heard about the budget changes this year, Barry and I have talked about adding a project for even this fiscal year, bringing it to the commission. That's a big if at this point about, are we gonna actually receive the funds that the state projected, and when are we gonna receive those funds? Right now, I think, Barry, the last you kinda heard through some of your meetings was uncertain if we'd see anything in this fiscal year, more likely next fiscal year, that we'd really see the
And if
bump.
you hear anything,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we're hearing different, but you heard through one of your meetings that there was skepticism that we'd
Yeah.
see the bump this year like was originally projected. So that's the newest, best information that we have. But if it comes, we've already had preliminary discussions about where that money might be utilized.
so Commissioner Miller asked about the idea of curb and gutter on Ivanhoe, so,
I'm just saying that would represent, I guess, the top of the top level.
well,
wanted to do
there
everything.
is another, there's, like I said, there's a lot of levels you can go at. So there's 2 blocks that don't have any curb and gutter at all right now on
That's what I was
Ivanhoe,
referencing.
plus a half a
Yeah.
block off of South Lakeview. So you could curb and gutter those as well. That would be another intermediate level that you could look at. Like I said, and sometimes these things are based more on cost than desirability of the final outcome. If you just want to make it smooth, you know, that's the cheapest option. But you're still going to have kids walking in the road on Ivanhoe.
Yeah.
You're still, you know, there's still other issues with underneath the road as well, so. Commissioner Burr's points are well taken in regards to conditions. Don't disagree.
There's 2 things here that we're talking about, but we haven't touched on the other, is time. But money, we all talk about, well, we need to have money to do these projects, but they also take time. If somebody dumped a boatload of money on us and wanted every street fixed to the condition that would make everybody happy, you couldn't even feasibly get that done within a year's time or 2 years' time with construction crews and all the things that go into fixing streets. So there's that too, so let's not forget about the time thing now, along with the money.
You got enough money, you can hire enough crews to get it done.
Well, would you want to
could
shut
build-
down your city
you could
essentially
build
for a
this
year?
City in 6 months.
If you have the money, if you have the money, we can find the time, but
But
we
there's a lot
we
going
know
into
that.
it, like, just
premium,
like
right?
this. I mean, it's not like we just hire somebody to do it. There's steps involved with police and band and bring groups like that and things of that, those types to get things lined up to do the work too. So, but Barry is doing a great job. I think the city's been doing a great job of keeping the priority list in line with what was expected, I suppose. And I know driving down the streets, I drive down the same streets, and they're bad, but we understand that every year we've got projects coming, and every year things deteriorate more and more, and even the new streets that have just been done 4 or 5 years ago, you know, people are complaining about those already. So it's always going to be that way. We're never going to have 100% satisfactory rate on the streets, but appreciate what you guys do.
This is not the time of the year to be bringing things in regards to street improvements from the standpoint of everybody's already seen what they're driving on. This is definitely the bad time of the year, there's no question about it.
Yeah, the roads are bad. I just know Ivanhoe's gonna be a bad main road for me for the next 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Constantly driving there.
And I'll be honest, the theory behind paving East Congress, several years ago was that we were going to get to Ivanhoe, and we wanted to have a decent route to get to the high school. So there's parallel options, you know.
Mhm.
You can take West Street, you can take St. Joe. And one's in pretty good shape.
Now,
The other
I
one's
just went
not
down
so.
West Street, it's getting pretty bad.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But even in our phasing, we're taking that into consideration, as Barry's saying, like, we're doing Congress with the eye that we need to do, you know, Ivanhoe, and that'll be an alternate route while we're doing repairs. So those are things that he's thinking about when he's prioritizing streets as well, in the timing of them.
So this is above the budgeted amount, correct? I take it?
This project was, when it was awarded, was above the original budgeted amount, Commissioner Boring.
Okay.
And this would be an additional amount beyond that which has already been approved.
Okay. As far as the technician, are we actively
Yes.
seeking? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I reviewed 3 applications for a technician today, actually.
Okay.
So we'll start interviewing next week.
Okay. So if you were to find someone, and, I mean, we approve this amount, would we end up, depending on the timing, would we end up not needing it, potentially?
That one's harder to
That's
assess
a good question.
because we've been since the end of October without the 3rd staff member.
Okay.
So some work has been a little pushed maybe further out on the backside than I would have liked. Like I said, this is more to make sure that we have coverage that we need
Immediate.
when it actually happens. So do I think this is potential to be higher than what the actual number ends up being? The paving goes pretty fast when we actually get there. The Milestone 1 streets had a lot of curb and gutter and sidewalk and ADA ramps. The remainder of the streets don't have any of that. So my hope is it's going to go much faster for the second part. So I don't know if that necessarily answered your question
Yeah.
or not, but
I think the question was, if you end up, is there a chance that you might not end up needing this additional money if you hire somebody quickly? That's the question, I believe.
Yeah.
we may not need as much of it. I think it would be,
Please
I don't think I would
invite
be
them.
here tonight if I didn't think that we were going to need something
Okay.
at that point. Now, are we going to try to minimize it? Absolutely. We always do. And as I said, we haven't used any contingency budget on this one, so, you know, that's a good thing from this perspective as well. And the design, since we have it up here on the screen, the 2027 design amendment number 12 was originally increased on 9/24 to $72,000. When we actually received the design amendment, it was 49.4, so that actually did decrease by a certain amount of money as well.
Mark?
Any idea what the start date's gonna be on these?
For the remainder of the 2025 streets,
Yeah.
normally asphalt plants don't open till late April. That's my expectation right now, is we're probably, the earliest we would probably start, unless it gets really warm in April, would be mid-April.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's about what I thought, mid-April, early May. Thank you.
Any other questions for Barry?
That's all.
Thanks, Barry.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve professional services agreement amendment number 7A with Fleece and Vandenbrink Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $53,530 and authorize city manager Andrew Cook to sign all necessary documents on behalf of the city.
So we have a motion
Second.
and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome.
Next on the agenda is the South Lake View Ave Design and Bidding Services. Mr. Barry Cox.
All right, this is a pretty large project, so the reconstruction of South Lakeview Avenue, we currently have planned for this coming fiscal year, 26-27. So we need to get design completed on this particular project in order to construct it in 2027. Project limits are from US 12 to Mechanic Street, which is just under 2,000 feet. This was one of the project streets that was identified in the 10-year street improvement program when the millage was passed several years ago. It is an original boundary street to the city of Sturgis, if you know the original boundaries of the city of Sturgis. And it is a composite pavement structure with asphalt over concrete, and it was constructed in 1921. This is pretty typical for most of our major streets, including Wenzel, West-West, detecting trend here, of conditions. So over the decades, it's been milled and resurfaced several times since the late 50s. And the last resurfacing occurred in 2008, so 18 years ago, which surprises me that it, even though the condition is lousy, it's survived that long. So, and it has been rated in a poor condition for the last 10 years. Now, that doesn't mean it's exactly the same rating the entire 10-year period, but about 10 years ago, it was rated as a 4, which is just under the fair category in Pacer from 10 to 1. And right now, pretty much each of the segments is a 2. So with that, the project plan is being proposed as a full reconstruction and widening from 25 feet to 34 feet in width. So this cross-sectional width matches what was constructed on North Lakeview back in 2019, and it matches the remaining portions of Lakeview to the south and to the north of there. This will allow for the construction of bike lanes that will connect basically from, these bike lanes will connect to the ones on US 12 as well as the ones to North Lakeview and the ones to the South Lakeview to the south that currently exist. In addition to the road improvements that we have as part of this design, a new 12-inch water main will be constructed between Mechanic and East Congress Streets. Lead service lines will be replaced along the entire project length that hasn't currently already been replaced. We will be looking at storm sewer replacement along the majority of this corridor as well, where we currently have it. And then ADA sidewalk improvements, curb and gutter are also part of the project as currently is proposed. So to that extent, that's what the Master Services Amendment number 13 is for design and bidding for this project is $121,300 plus an additional, no. Yeah, it's $111,300 for the design plus estimated expenses for geotechnical work of $10,000 for a final cost of $121,300. Current budget for this year had $132,000 in it, so we're slightly under that at this point. Estimated project construction is just a little over $2 million, and this is primarily going to come out of Fund 204 and the Water Improvement Fund, or the Water Fund, excuse me. Wish we had a water improvement fund. With that, try to answer any questions, thoughts, ideas on this whole proposed cross-section.
Yeah, I think one of the things we wanted to just highlight was that it is going to include widening of the street. That was something that Commission had contemplated in prior years, but that was not this Commission, so we want to make sure you were aware of that and understood that. And
Which would be nice, because that'll help tie it in with the rest.
Will that be equally taken off each side?
Excellent question, Commissioner Harrington.
Because it would basically take, they do have a wide terrace. And it would, compared to Nottawa. That's why, yeah, okay. So it was, if you took out 4.5 feet, okay, there'd still be about 4.5 feet of terrace there. And I was just wondering whether the sidewalks would still be in the same place. Because some of those front yards and areas are quite small.
They are. So there's a couple things that we're fighting here.
Mm-hmm.
The right-of-way is not for a normal major street is normally 66 feet in width. This particular portion of South Lakeview, it's only 59. When we did North Lakeview, it was part of a discussion. We had several meetings at the auditorium regarding, what this should look like cross-sectional wise, and we actually did, and we had a similar issue on North Lakeview. The right-of-way is not truly what it indicates historically. It's a little narrower, but we actually shifted. It was not equally disposed of on each side. So we tried to kind of center it between the sidewalk, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
So let's say it's between the front edge of the sidewalk on both sides, closest to the street. Let's say it's 48 feet. We would try to take that 34 feet from the middle of that 48 feet,
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, I was just kind of curious how that was going to work, given, even though the terraces, are kind of wide, if the sidewalks needed to be moved over even closer to the house, depending on how they were going to do it, it might be. And just how are residents notified that?
That was my question.
Because I was always kind of curious, when you talk about Ivanhoe, I always wondered, do you take into consideration, do you contact the people who currently live there to even find out how they feel about their street? Maybe they love it that way because people don't go racing up and down their streets. That kind of thing, to be notified that your front part is going to shrink.
So Commissioner Harrington, before we start a project, we do send out a letter to each address along the property, but at that point, it's already pretty much been decided. I don't necessarily send that letter out right now, which is kind of why we're talking about what are you looking at.
And I would say in extreme cases, as Barry mentioned, with the widening of North Lakeview, that's when we're going to be looking to engage the public and see, okay, how are we doing
Okay, that's why I was
this?
just
What
kind
are
of
we-
curious, the
what are we
process
working on?
when it
Yeah.
went through, because, of course, I checked it out. And there are, in the terraces, there's a total of 26 trees, which will probably
I
have.
counted 25, but one of them's Rosa Sharon, so you're right.
Well, okay, it's still in the, it's in the terrace. It's in the terrace.
That's good.
Is it a bush or a tree? I know that's a.
It is a toss-up.
And there are several large ones, most of them are smaller. I could, I could chop it down, but that's the big one. Okay.
Would
No, I
you?
was just kind of curious how the process works. I've never been on a street where I've had to deal with it.
I was gonna ask him too, if he could confirm the truth.
You knew the number?
Okay.
I'm sure there's one in the last meeting.
Oh, and out of curiosity, how many trees went down on North Lakeview when that?
Oh, you're really trying to push it right
No,
now.
no, no, it's just, I mean,
32.
wow.
Yet he still knew the answer. You
I
push
know.
it.
I mean, it's nice to walk in on sunny days when it's not the middle of summer. In the middle of summer, it's much easier to go on a more tree-lined road than that one for walking or biking. Yeah,
And we
just
put
wondering.
back over 60.
Wow, yeah, a lot of work. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other thoughts?
I have a thought.
Okay.
So, we want to go in for $2 million. I'm sure it'll be more than that by the time we get there. But we just spent 2.5 on a bond for St. Joe Street. I think on these major projects that we have where we have to take and redo the structures of the substructures, sidewalks and everything, that we should take in, maybe do it every 5 years or every 3 years, whatever. But then in the meantime, use the money in between to do the other 4 streets that are rising. As you know, they're going to get worse and worse. If we wait till 28 to do Winslow, it'll be a nice place to live because no one will be driving up and down, so it'll be a quiet street to be on. But so if we just took and basically milled and surfaced it, you'd have over $1 million to do other roads with and move this down.
It probably would not be $1 million, obviously, to mill and resurface that section of Lakeview. Now, we would still have to do, so it would fall kind of into the category we call rehabilitation, which is where we have to do ADA ramps for curb and gutter at each intersection of the street. But once you've completed that work, you could mill and resurface it again. Understanding that the substructure is well over 100 years old that we're trying to put this on. So it's a little, I know what you're saying as far as like taking this huge pot of money. Now, I don't know the breakdown on how much of this, we have an estimate here. From a budgetary standpoint, we had $1 million in the water and $2 million for the street. So right now, the estimate overall is just over, I think, the 2 million number. We looked at, initially, we were looking at running water main, 12-inch water main, all the way from US 12 all the way down to Mechanic. We found a more efficient way to make the loop for the 12-inch by only connecting it at Congress, and which is only a 2-block section as opposed to 5.5. But it's going to be, to do what you're proposing, Commissioner Burr, is going to change the direction of how we've attacked major streets historically, which is we want to get rid of this composite pavement because we know it's failing. Will it last for 15 years or 10 years? It could. At some point, you're going to be right at where we're at today. So.
Well, we don't have to wait 10 years, I'm saying, if we put it, I just don't see, when we did North Lakeview, that was quite expensive too, you know? I think that we should have intervals, plan on them so we can plan to save up for them, because they're going to cost $2 million plus. We know that going into it now. Anything's going to be that much with the infrastructure included. So if we can take care of, because how many commissioners here have not heard people complain about the roads? All the time. All the time. Even with 3 mil. And I'm sure they don't want to go more. They just are going, where's it going? And I've explained many times, okay, you don't understand, when we do a major project for a major road like North Lakeview, it costs the entire budget that we've got. But they don't see that. They see their road, they see their travel, they see me going down Winslow like this, but you know, that's besides the point. But I would just like to see a little bit more gap between two of the, when we spend that much money, especially since we didn't have it last time we had to bond it out. I don't like to charge things.
To that point, I don't think there's one of our precincts that doesn't have a problem somewhere, right? And I've had 2 calls just this week. One of them that said that had a leak in their tire now and bent the rim. And it was in town. I said, I know this person. I said, are you speeding? He said, no. You know, so I think, I was glad to hear Tom say at our last city commission meeting that they're starting to work on potholes. I know that's not the answer ultimately, but clearly, if we can get potholes filled, that's going to at least alleviate maybe some of the major issues temporarily.
Yeah,
I mean,
they've been out religiously. I mean, I know
Yeah, I noticed.
they've been on South
middle.
Lakeview. They've been on South Lakeview at least twice.
And they've been on Nottawa at least 3 times I've seen them.
And so, I mean, that,
I'm just reiterating
Yep.
what I believe is probably very important to help us.
Well, and this has been a very more severe winter.
Winter, yeah.
It happens every year.
Barry, but I think if I heard you correctly, there's more, at least what I thought I heard you say, there's more of an emphasis on the major streets versus the side roads, if you will.
Yeah, so ever since
So-
the citizens passed the original millage back in 2012, 2013. 13, thank you. You know, that was part of the Sturgis 2022 vision, and we laid forth certain streets that we wanted to do in that 10-year program, and I'm pretty sure we actually nailed all of those. And when we went to do the renewal of that millage, we put forth, again, similar project groupings, to say, this is what we're trying to do with this money that you're either saying yes or no on. And so, that was approved. I feel like, we should try to follow through on that grouping. Now, whether or not, I know we had even promotional materials out there that said, these are the streets that we were looking to tackle with this additional money, and we've done a number of them already. I know it's getting more difficult to afford it. There's no doubt about it. And I don't know that that's going to change.
Any other questions for Barry?
I would just like to say, I like the way you're doing this, getting this around, getting it scheduled so it can be bid out, so it can be ready to start next spring. Instead of having it wait until later in the year to start it, getting the bids. I'd like to schedule.
Well, a project of this size, much like St. Joe, it's kind of important to try to get it going sooner in the construction season than later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve Master Services Agreement Amendment Number 13 with Vice Van Brick Engineering, Inc. in the amount of $121,300 and authorize the city manager and Dietrich to sign contract documents on behalf of the city.
So we have a motion. A second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is the electric vehicle charging station. Erica Kruska, welcome tonight.
Good evening. Hi. I'm Erica Kurska. I'm with Community Development Department, for those who don't know me. In 2024, the city was awarded a $942,500 revitalization and placement making grant, also known as RAP 1.0. This grant was to support the downtown infrastructure improvements and revitalization. These improvements completed under this grant included reconstruction of 5 downtown parking lots, the alley beautification behind 5 lakes, and sidewalk and accessibility upgrades to improve safe pedestrian access to area businesses. The project was successfully completed in accordance with the approved grant agreement and came in under budget by $151,207.62. During final grant reconciliation, Southwest Michigan first contacted the city regarding the availability of remaining funds. After discussions with Southwest Michigan First and MEDC, we were advised that the electric vehicle charging stations and the necessary supporting infrastructure are the only remaining eligible components for use of these funds. These stations were originally contemplated as part of the original grant project, but were removed during the design phase due to placement and budget considerations. Staff conducted due diligence by contacting EV charging vendors, department heads, and contractors to obtain pricing and technical information. That review confirmed that the charging infrastructure can be completed within the original grant scope, timeline, and budget parameters. If approved, the project would include installation of up to 2 dual-port level 2 charge point stations in parking lot 11, which is across from City Hall and adjacent to the Sturgis Young Center for the Arts. Installation would include extension of power from North Monroe, underground boring and trenching, and transformer installation. EV charging naturally creates dwell time, as drivers typically remain nearby while their vehicles are charging. By placing the stations in this walkable location, we create an opportunity for that time to support downtown restaurants, retail, and community events. This builds upon the recent RAP improvements and reinforces the city's ongoing commitments to downtown infrastructure and economic vitality consistent with the goals outlined in the city's adopted master plan. The stations would operate within the ChargePoint network, which includes maintenance plan with the purchase of units. Electric pricing would be set by the city, and the stations support standard payment methods, including card and contactless options. To utilize the remaining funds, the project must be completed by June 30th of this year. Staff is seeking direction from the commission on whether to proceed with utilizing these remaining funds locally. If approved, staff will return with final cost figures and a formal amendment to the grant agreement.
So any questions for Erica? There's no motion here, with city staff is just asking for direction.
Yes, next.
You beat me to it. Absolutely.
I don't recall, that parking lot's gonna be redone as well.
Yeah,
correct?
we're looking at a mill and resurface project that's in the budget for this year. That's the game plan. So that would be it would actually work out well.
Right.
We'd plan on doing the trenching, and then we'd have the mill and resurface on the parking lot as part of that, hopefully probably by the end of this year, so.
I think we have consensus, right? Nancy, yes?
Well, my question, what's the cost to the city once it's all said and done?
It
For
applied-
for years
They're gonna bring
afterwards?
it back.
Yeah.
You
I
meant the
was just
grant
cu-
scope, that
I was just
implied the
curious.
cost is
So-
covered, right?
Ongoing,
In terms of the type of cost, doesn't have to be a dollar sign, but what would we?
Oh.
Are you speaking like,
ongoing costs.
Yeah, like, okay, they
Oh.
get, it gets put in, it gets done, and I was just curious, what cost would it be to the city,
I mean,
or would we recoup it through electrical charges?
well, the electric department would charge for the charging stations, and there is like a warranty type cost that is figured in, like every
okay.
year. But you would recoup those costs.
So-
Okay, that's what I just
So
got.
maintenance, I mean, kind of a quick overview would be maintenance of the actual charging stations, as was alluded to in the
Right.
manager's report, and Erica mentioned it in her thing, is there would be like a 5-year built-in with the cost of the pedestals for
Just to have,
maintenance.
with
So
just
they would
some
come out.
idea of how the
Yeah,
the
so
package
they would
works,
come
yeah.
out and fix those, and then after that, I think we could probably continue to have a maintenance
Yeah.
agreement with them. So that would be an ongoing cost. That's obviously recouped. We set the charges, we get
And we'd
the
have some
bulk of
idea
those
of how
funds
often
back.
it's used and stuff like we would.
Correct.
Right. Just,
Correct.
I'd like to.
And that's gonna be a city a city electric asset, a electric department asset.
Yeah, it would be, yes, city asset, probably housed out of the
Will the
electric.
city get 100% of the profits from the electric, or does that have to go to the charging station?
I don't know if ChargePoint takes a cut of that. I know the credit, obviously you're doing this all through contactless payments, so there'd be some type of credit card fee that would be charged as
Like
part
a
of it.
third
but-
party,
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
Stripe or something.
Yeah, like any
Yeah.
other
Well, I
third party.
understand that, but I mean, from the usage, we
No.
don't pay a share to a
No,
company.
I don't believe we
for
pay
the
any share to
charging.
ChargePoint in this case, unless you've seen something different, Erica, when you've
I'm
looked at
not
it.
sure about that. I'd have to double check.
Okay.
I mean, if they're gonna put us on their app and stuff, we might get a little
They
something.
do have an app
charged.
that they would have us on that would show our location.
Show a location.
I think that, part of my research showed that, if you're in the app and you show that you're within 5 to 10 minutes or, within walkability of a restaurant or, restrooms or, shopping, that you tend to get hits more often.
More often, yeah.
So, and we definitely have that with this location, so.
I did have some person ask me, and I assume it's just dollar amount, why we wouldn't look at the Tesla charger. I have no idea, I'm guessing cost. But they said Tesla does maintain them too.
So there's a
It's
cost
quicker
aspect.
charge, I guess.
Well, and then, I don't know if you want to get into that, Erica, or you want me to
Well, I
handle that
don't
one?
really know the difference between a Tesla and a ChargePoint. I just know that when we talked to ChargePoint, they were the most reasonable, cost-wise.
ChargePoint has
Yeah.
Both plugs, yeah.
That comes with it versus the Tesla charger, where they would have to have the add-on charger, the add-on plug, but this one has the Tesla plug and then the other version.
There's also the consideration, one of the things we had to look at with this location, these are level 2 chargers. Some of what you see with the Tesla chargers, that's
higher.
called they call them a supercharger, a
That's
level
what-
3 charger.
That's what he was
They
asking.
charge, they charge faster, but the power consumption and the
Is a lot
electrical,
higher.
yeah, the electrical infrastructure that we need to support that is a lot more expensive,
The
so.
infrastructure.
The
So,
level
yeah.
2 chargers, they take about 20 to 40 minutes, which is kind of nice that, that get out. The idea is they get out, walk downtown, make use of our,
It's not the worst thing in the world for us
No.
that they're a little bit slower if we're
Yeah.
trying to support the downtown businesses in this case, so.
Right.
And, I mean, quite frankly, they would be almost the only game in town when it came to electric chargers. We do have a couple at some of the dealerships in town, but we have no other chargers in
Yeah.
the city limits,
I
so.
think it's great.
The Electric City should have.
Yeah, electric should.
So what, can I ask a question on, like, what are the potential, I mean, I'm sure there's been something done to where we looked at what we want to get here. What are the potential earnings that can be made off of this based on data from other areas near? And we talked about us being more desirable because within walking distance of restrooms and stuff like that. I mean, are we talking
I mean,
tens of thousands of dollars a year kind of thing? Or?
I don't think we've done that analysis unless
No,
you've
no,
done
yeah,
some
that-
looking at
They
it.
do have a formula that they talk about in regards to, depending on how many charges you get during the day. And, I mean, they did give like a figure, just a ballpark figure of these types of stations up to 22,000 just for our businesses downtown. But that's a ballpark figure. I don't,
You're talking economic impact or?
that was for our area.
Yeah, you're talking.
specifically.
You're talking
I'm
economic, we're talking
to the electorate. I mean,
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
talking
for
actual
electric,
fees.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I don't think
We
we've
don't know
done,
based
I don't
on
think
that.
we've run
I
the
don't even
numbers
think
on
we've-
that
I don't
exactly
even
yet,
think
but
they've.
we can find that
We even talked
information.
about how much we're gonna charge. so.
Yeah, we'd still have to
Yeah, that was
figure
my
out what
next
our price
question, how
point
do we
is.
figure rates, too?
Yeah, so we would talk to our rate consultant, they've done this, and we'd look at what rates for that
And
charging
I'm sure you
station.
can get more per
Peak hours,
whatever.
that
If
type of
it's
Peak
a
hours,
three
yeah.
versus a 2 that you were talking about, right?
Yeah, they use
The
more
faster
power,
one.
so
Yeah.
these are figured for how much power is, how many kilowatts it can put out, so it,
I'll say if we're planning on moving forward with this, there's still gonna be a lot more analysis that we're gonna need to do on some of these specific questions.
I'm just
but-
saying it wouldn't be a big boom to the electric fund.
No, this is not going to be
I don't-
like
Yeah,
some
that's
kind
definitely
of,
not the
major
reason
swing.
behind it.
yeah.
If nothing else.
I mean, we could
break even would
have
be
a
nice.
monopoly here, charge what we want to charge. There ain't
Well,
nothing
yeah.
else out there, so. We could.
May not get many users, they may route on to the next one, but, that's part
Only
of
those
the
who are desperate.
consideration, so.
Well,
Barry, Will.
I think our goal with this was economic development in the downtown,
Yeah.
because the city owns the electrical and where we're gonna plug in for the potential service. We weren't looking at increasing the rates to use these, just to drive somebody to the downtown that may not stop here, they may miss this exit, go somewhere else because of the restaurant, so if we can entice them by keeping our rates lower here and using that number over the next 5 years to determine what we need to charge to cover the maintenance of the equipment, it's just gonna drive more people here, who knows, we end up with a whole row of charges back there because people see what we're trying to do.
And I think that's a great location. I mean, it's the food
Yeah,
truck
right
area.
downtown.
The hope is to have food trucks there more often in the summertime or
Mhm.
for events downtown. I think that's a great location for it, so. It's right around the corner from our downtown.
The location near St. Joseph, near the 94 interchange on M63, you never don't, it is a Tesla, granted, but it's a charging station nonetheless. You never fail to see cars there, and they get out and they go buy what's ever close to them. And UP Mall, same thing. They all get out, and I agree with Will, that's a big part of the point.
So, yeah, for sure. So we do have consensus. Yeah. Sure.
I saw it was an 18-foot hose initially on one of the photos. It was 18-foot. And it was two options hoses. Okay. So, place kind of intermediate between parking spaces to supply 2 different parking spaces, one that's outside. And then second option or observation is that's in the long-term parking area for the city service.
also talked about, where the light is, next to where it says trenching, another option along through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one thing I've noticed when I was someplace in a parking lot, they had it, but somebody was traveling with a pickup and a trailer and needed to charge his pickup, and, it basically jammed up everything, taking up space. So in terms of location, think of it that way, somebody's traveling, hauling something, they will need extra space to get in and out. Yeah.
So whose responsibility to repair them when someone runs over one of them or vandalizes one of them? Would that be on the city?
Well, I'm assuming that we would have insurance warranty if it's something wrong with the unit itself and something that goes wrong and it's covered under warranty, but we would have to have insurance.
I'm just saying vandalism, just like the air hose out at Bowling Tires vandalized all the time for free air, but.
Yeah.
The maintenance piece would be covered under that kind of that service contract, so we would contact the charge point people and they would come out and do the fix.
I'll help
All right.
So you want to put one around the police department? That sounds good. Yeah, they can park there and they go to Wings and downtown and be safe. Good idea.
All right, this is exciting.
Anything else?
No, any other questions? Thank you.
No,
Thanks for the input.
Thanks.
let's look at it.
Next on the agenda is the electric truck financing. Sadie?
Thank you, Mayor. Commission. In May of '25, the City Commission approved the purchase of an AT-48 small bucket truck, in the amount not to exceed $225,000. This purchase was to replace the existing small bucket truck that was purchased used in 2022. With this new purchase, it would maintain current fleet of 2 small and 2 large bucket trucks. The final price came in for the bucket truck at $208,116 to be purchased by the Motor Vehicle Fund. As indicated during that original approval, we would do financing closer to the purchase and delivery of the truck. Staff is recommending that we utilize an installment purchase financing to purchase this small bucket truck. The state authorizes us to use this type of financing tool. So we contacted local banks for quotes on this financing. The lowest bank that came in with an interest rate of 3.25% for 7 years was Southern Michigan Bank and Trust. So staff is recommending that we move forward with the installment purchase agreement of $208,116 with Southern Michigan Bank and Trust for the 3.25% for 7 years. This would result in just under $25,000 of insurance or interest over the life of the financing agreement. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, I've got one. So in our budget, we approved that purchase under the vehicle extraordinary expenses. So why do we budget that to buy that? So why do we have to take a loan out of it?
We budgeted the purchase of it, but we still have to pay for it. The Motor Vehicle Fund doesn't have an extraordinary amount of plentiful cash, so we have to figure out how to then purchase
We don't
a
have
vehicle.
$225,000 in the vehicle?
We have some cash, but we're also purchasing other things, and through the Motor Vehicle Fund, we have the monthly enterprise vehicles and maintenance. So again, it's, do we want to deplete all the funds in the motor vehicle fund, or looking at spreading those?
Commissioner
And that's
Burke, did you
also
say
how the-
25,000? This is for the $200,000. Oh, okay.
I mean, we also
received
receive
borrow more money.
we also receive the money back into the motor vehicle fund from the electric fund in lease payments, essentially. So the electric department's charged year over year for basically a lease amount on that truck to the motor vehicle fund. So it would make sense that we would want to spread the cost of that as well. And this is not an atypical way that we've handled these size purchases in the past.
So we're thinking it's better to finance it than just take the cash out.
And the electric department's paying it anyway, so.
And the electric department's paying for it.
Well, then why don't we just take a fund from the electric department?
That-
There are other
Get a
implications
loan.
with that.
We can, oh, we can't?
You
We've done it
can,
before.
you can, but there are concerns with loaning additional or excessive amounts from the electric fund.
As we've discussed in the past, we don't want to use that resource more than we have to. I think the commission's made that clear about taking loans from the electric department fund in the past. Also, you know, the motor vehicle fund was set up with this idea in mind. Rather than have each department purchase their own vehicle, own their own vehicle, we pool them together under the motor vehicle fund, and then we charge the rent out. So that, you know, obviously, in this case, if the electric department was purchasing it separately and of itself, a lot different financial situation. But if you're talking about a large truck for the water department, for example, that doesn't have the same kind of financial position, motor vehicle fund makes more sense, and we would be handling it the same way.
But we had $300,000 more for the fire truck.
I'm sorry.
We went over $300,000 for a fire truck that was budgeted for 1.25.
Sure. And I'm not sure what the,
Well,
what
we came up with money for that, but now, is this short-sightedness?
no,
We're financing
It's in
the,
the-
we're financing the fire truck
But
too.
it's-
We're finance.
the fire truck, we're financing as well.
Let's vote.
Any other questions?
The truck that was purchased in 2022 used, is that just gonna be sold?
I do believe so.
I mean,
No further discussion, no further questions?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Sturgis City Commission adopt the resolution authorizing installment purchase agreement as presented.
So we have a motion
Second.
and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So moved. Next on the agenda is the county early voting agreement addendum. Mr. Kinrose.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As it says in the manager's report, 2022, the citizens of Michigan adopted a bunch of election law-related items, including adding at least 9 days of early voting to elections. So right now, we kind of run 3 elections. We have the early voting, we have the absentee voting, we have the same-day voting. So there's different rules related to each one of those. I'm pretty darn good at running that same-day election. I've been doing it for a while, and absentee is it's a lot more these days, but we've been doing that for a while as well. The early voting is new, and again, there's a lot of rules with that. Lindsay Oswald was the county clerk at the time, and said that she would be willing to do it on behalf of the whole county. So past several elections, we've had an early voting station up in Centerville. People can go anywhere, you live anywhere in the county, and go for 9 days. And the county staffs it and takes care of all the storage, the locking up of the system, the shutting it down. Again, there's a whole bunch of rules with it. You have to have a certain amount of election workers each of those hours that they're open, and that can get pretty darn costly. So for each of us to do it would be quite a cost, and again, there would be a lot of rules that you have to learn. So I'm very thankful that Lindsay decided to do it, and that our current clerk, Gina Everson, is doing it as well. Gina has brought on Melissa Bliss, who was the city clerk in Three Rivers, and Teresa Ives was her deputy, and so they are kind of handling a lot of the elections for issues for Gina. So They were willing to come down. I said, I've got a good commission here, because here's the bottom line. If we do it ourselves, it's a lot more expensive than if we agree to this amendment. So they're charging it a little different. Lindsay kind of charged you more on the even number of years and less on the odd number of years because their chances of needing the early voting, they've kind of smoothed it out a little bit. So it's about the same costs that it was for the initial thing. But again, this is something we have to do, and the county's willing to do it for a lesser cost than it would cost us to do it ourselves. So, nobody likes to pay for unfunded mandates. In this case, it's the citizens of Michigan that passed the unfunded mandate, not the state itself. So, to me, it's an easy sell. But I'm happy to try to provide information to you on the amendment itself.
Any questions for Ken?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve the amendment to the county early voting site agreement between St. Joseph County and the city of Sturgis as presented.
So we have a motion
Second.
and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, Ken. Oh, next on the agenda is board appointments. Mr. Rhodes.
Okay, we've got a few vacancies here. Let's see how we want to do this. How did I put this here? Okay, so first one we've got it would be related to the Board of Review. We've got 3 members on the Board of Review. They get to sit and listen to appeals when you talk about your property taxes. Big companies often can go straight to the tax tribunal and just circumvent our Board of Review. They don't need to deal with that. But if it's on your house, then they come to the Board of Review. Dale Hudson, our assessor, provides information to them, but they sit and listen to the appeals. If someone doesn't agree with the appeal, they can take that to the tax tribunal. They get trained for this because just because somebody comes in and says, I want my assessment down $10,000 doesn't mean that it automatically happens. There are rules that apply to this. Assessments are determined in a large part by the sales studies that are provided by the county and again, there's a lot of rules to this. So we've got 3 members, Sharon Hudson, Terry Cole, and Viv Van Ness have been doing a nice job for a number of years. We have not had an alternate member for quite some time, and so it does make sense that if one of those members, it's good to have 3 people on it. 2 people can serve on there, and we still have a quorum for that, but it's nice to have an additional member. And so Margaret has agreed to hang out with her husband a little bit, and so I think she'd be, she's a smart lady, and I think she'd be a nice addition to the board.
Okay. You want to do them all, or you just want individual?
I'm happy to do them all. Well, I'll just explain to everybody. So let's keep going, and then you tell me how you want to do it. So on the auditorium board, I think everybody at one point or another has had to deal with Didymo, and he's a pretty good community member that is, he does a lot. And so he is, at this point, been willing to take the place of Mary Franks on that board. What's the position, Andrew? Kathy, do you?
Fundraising chair.
Fundraising. So again, he's Didymo does a lot. So we've got his application in there, and that's the only application. And the auditorium board, SYCA board has recommended his appointment. Finally, we've got a couple applications, and in theory, we only have one appointment. We have Sarah Fenton and Travis Northam have both applied to the Doyle Parks, Recreation, and Doyle Advisory Board. However, we have a member of that board from the as a foundation representative by the name of Jeff Mullins that has agreed to step down from that board. He does a little bit of traveling these days that doesn't allow him to stay as on top of that board as he wishes. So what we have to decide is which of these 2 individuals would be appointed by the city. In speaking with the foundation, basically whoever you decide to appoint, then I will immediately email Lindsay while she's still around and get that application. And in all likelihood, and I would say there's a 99.99% chance that that other individual would be appointed by the foundation. So if I had a choice, simply because Mr. Northam lives out in White Pigeon Township and Miss Fenton lives in the city, I would say that Miss Fenton probably should be our representative. And again, I think Mr. Northam could be appointed by the foundation prior to the next Doyle board meeting. So they'd both end up on the board. So if I had recommendations, I would recommend the appointment of Margaret Cole to the Board of Review, Didymo Ariola to the SYCA Board, and Sarah Fenton to the Doyle Board, with a recommendation to the Community Foundation to appoint Travis Northam.
Any questions for Ken?
I move we appoint the members that were listed out by Clerk Rose as presented.
So we have a motion
Second.
and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Great, thanks.
Next on the agenda is the city manager contract addendum. It's titled under Andrew, but it's.
I'm just gonna pass it.
I'll take it.
I'm just handing it off.
Alright.
I'm handing it
So,
off to you, Attorney.
The addendum to the contract is a result of the commission's desire after the manager's evaluation in the fall. And it reflects essentially the 3.5% that equals the dollar amount that the commission discussed to go into the city manager's HSA. This would be effective, as you see in there, December of 2025, which we can do just with schedules and everything going on. So I'd ask that this be put on the agenda, more so to get it off of my to-do and complete list that was sitting on my desk, because you know how Andrew likes to put his financial top priority in front of the commission. So we have it here. I did share it with the mayor. As you notice, the only thing we're really changing is section 10, and that's simply adding that 3.5%. The commission had previously approved the $500 a year HSA contribution. So if you recall, this was kind of talked about, negotiated, and this is where it fell after that, so we can get this in place. So if anybody have any questions?
We just kind of had to force Andrew to put it on there because he didn't want to put it on there. So
That's right.
thought there was other important things to do, but we got it on there.
That's right.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Sturgis City Commission approve the third addendum to the city manager employment agreement.
So we have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Can I go out of turn and speak for public comment? And some of the comments tonight just kind of stirred up something that I was thinking about.
Yes.
Yeah, come on.
That's early.
Just state your name and address and you got 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, commissioners and everybody here. I'm Matt Craven from Baroque Township, so I'm not technically a resident here, but as you guys know, I do try to be pretty involved in my local community. And as a conversation tonight about the roads and sidewalks and everything else with the ADAs, I come to the conclusion over the course, obviously we're kind of at the, hopefully the end of winter time, but I'm just wondering why the city posts on the Facebook page about clearing sidewalks off and all that, but then yet, when we go through and we take care of our places, that 97% of the H1B1 district of all the businesses don't have their sidewalks cleared off. With ADA appliances and doing that, is that kind of like a direct rejection of allowing ADA if we're in the middle of winter time and people can't safely bypass the sidewalks? You know, so that's just, as I know it's kind of hard to maybe enforce on the residents, so say, because of the amount of residents we have, but I feel as a commercial property, that should be kind of a standard that should be enforced upon or cited or however, you know, to make them really take care of their sidewalks, because if somebody slips and falls out there, since we have the AD compliance with the sidewalks,
but the businesses are not taking care of it, who does that fall back on? Is it the businesses or the people, the city, because they can't safely access the ADA sidewalk? So that's just kind of.
City manager?
Sure. I mean, we definitely look at, sidewalk clearing is something, obviously, as Mr. Craven said, we do make sure we try and make people aware of that. We do look at enforcement on major roads and things of that nature. Always can put a better eye towards enforcement in certain areas, and if there's areas commission's concerned about, we can double our efforts on certain things. So happy to put that forward to code enforcement and public safety going forward.
But would the liability be on the owner of the business?
Yeah, pretty much.
Probably. We would have immunity from, for us, for public sidewalk situations, governmental immunity, I think, would protect us in that case. To the extent there would be liability, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't want to hazard a guess, or an insurance agent, but.
Do you know one?
Huh?
Do you know one?
I do, but I don't think he's gotten the question with enough advance notice to look into precedent, so I'll give him a pass on that.
I meant you know a good one, I'm sorry.
I do know a good one. I do know a good one.
Do we know an insurance agent?
Well, deny. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, just maybe first obviously, hopefully this winter is subsiding for the most part. But it's been pretty busy for us.
We're glad that
and
you
all
knocked on wood, Matt.
Yeah, I would love another 10-inch snowstorm. Just maybe for going on in the future, because really, in my opinion, we've really tried to do a really quality work and job, and it really makes our H1B1 district look fairly not appealing if it's not safe for the pedestrians to walk through, because there are some pedestrians to walk through. There's a lot of vehicle traffic, which a lot of parking lots don't look that great either, but these people being able to walk from or Jim Stikeman Chevrolet all the way down to Omni Bank.
Oh, yeah.
All
Centerville
that
gets-
sidewalk there, there's
Instead of being on
literally
the
like
road.
about 7 places that are clean and the rest of them are not.
Yeah. There's a good number of walkers there, and I know, Frank, you're always talking about people walking in the street. It's one thing on the side streets, but you really can't do that on Centerville.
No.
Yeah, but, bike lanes they're not meant for pedestrian traffic, yeah.
You don't want to be walking the side.
Thank you for that, appreciate that.
Mr. Craven, the west side of M66, there are a number of township parcels in the area as well. So it's in and out, some of it's city, some of it's not. So even every single city entity in that area, numerous sidewalk, you still have potentially.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Township, yeah.
I understand
But,
that.
but wouldn't they be liable for, required to keep theirs clean too?
I mean, I
don't know what the township rules are.
That'd be subject to township. And there's not really a fine or nothing. It's basically at the digression of the city to come through and clear it and then give the bill to the property owner. So there's not like a fine or nothing like that. And the way that the language is written up is the city would then come through and take care of it and then send the bill to the client. So that's why I kind of wondered where the liability would fall on that.
That's if we don't get compliance, and I think we have fined people in the past for that. So that's, I guess, the extreme element, similar to how we handle long grass and things of that nature. We would, if we can't get compliance any other way,
It's a
then we come through
long
and
journey
charge
to get
back.
there.
I know when I was on Centerville Road, if there was a time that I didn't clean, code enforcement would stop by and just tell me, so.
Yeah, I know we've stopped by and
I know
talked to
you
people in the
stopped by.
past,
I
but
don't know about now, but I know in the past we have.
Well, just to add to what Matt is saying, I noted, and I won't share his name because it's not his choice here tonight, but there's a gentleman that lives downtown in a mechanized chair, and I talk to him often, and he was one of the bad snow days. We had several in a row for a stretch there, and he was yelling out of frustration because I don't have to think how he does walking the sidewalks. I deal with it, and I'm able to deal with it the way I do, and he's got a different perspective. But he had a very valuable perspective in that he has no choice. He has to get around on his 4 wheels, and he was just complaining out of frustration how hard this winter has been, and he was making the point, I would say, Matt, about both residential and business alike, on how difficult it has been for him to traverse around this winter, to add to it. Nobody in this room has to think about it, but there are individuals in the city who it's their life to think about it. They have to think about it. So just want to add that perspective.
All right. Well, thank you,
sir, and I appreciate everything you guys do for the community.
Thank you.
Even though you get a lot of flack.
Right, moving on to commissioner and staff comments, and we'll start with Sadie.
Nothing for tonight, thanks.
Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah, I had a good conversation with a couple folks from Wiesel this morning. I guess it was afternoon for them. So I think they're excited to have everybody join. So we've got 15 folks going. Been looking at some plane tickets. What I imagine is that we'll probably leave on the Saturday so that we arrive Sunday morning, and then hopefully get back at a decent hour. We're gaining a lot of time when we come back. Barb, oh God, what's Barb's last name? No, not Barb Gray. No, the Barb downtown, the travel agent.
B&D Travel.
Yeah. So talk to her, and so Culberson. Thank you. So she'll. I gave her, just our time frame. And I have an idea about, we're in the $1,100 range, but that's a direct flight. So we can. I'm happy to hear if you've got some other thoughts, because if we can save a whole heck of a lot of money by having a layover, then that's might be worth it. But it's got to be worth it. So Barb will be helping us out with that. So again, feel free to pass anything along if you've got some special needs for the flight or for the trip itself. I'll give them the basic information. Height, eye color, all that kind of stuff. Age and that kind of thing, and they'll try to pair that up. But if you've got some thoughts, please pass that along to me, and hopefully, I'm hoping that we can kind of lock something down here as soon as we can. And again, I don't know. I think that's it for now. If you've got any thoughts right now, feel free to tell me. But you know where I live, so happy to. Yeah, Jeff.
Any question? You said potentially leaving on Saturday?
Yeah, so Saturday.
Night, or would that?
The flight I saw, so it's a Lufthansa flight, leaves about let's just say 5 o'clock out of Chicago, and then puts you into Frankfurt early Sunday morning. So it's an overnight flight that I guess actually no, that would work out, because if you slept through the evening and then you're in Frankfurt in the morning on Sunday, then jet lag shouldn't be too bad. So
that might alter things on my end, I think, only because of the fact that the Saturday is my son's graduation from college.
Okay.
And I was always banking on the Sunday thing, but I guess we can talk and figure out what might be, I guess.
I saw one out of Detroit for 7:30 at night, Saturday. And
Okay.
got in 7:30 out of Detroit and got in about, I think it was 9:50. And that ticket was like 9:46.
Okay, and I'm happy to, and that's why
that was Delta.
I can look, and I did, but that's why I really want to employ the expertise of Barb. Barb did say something about we don't want to go with an economy ticket because you could get pushed aside. But again, let's first class would be great, but I don't know who's willing to pay for that. So yeah.
Look at that Detroit.
So again, she knows our parameters, and that's again, she's been doing this a long time. So let's let her do it. If you see something, that is great. So Kathy, just let me know that, because I'll say, hey Barb, look at this one and see what it's at. But again, and then when you do a group travel like this, then you're usually going through an agent. It's one thing to just buy your own ticket online. That's really easy to do. But when you got 15 folks that need to kind of stay together, and that doesn't mean you'll all be sitting in the same row. But
And that is flying back on the 9th?
Flying back on the 9th. And so, in essence, let's say you leave at 3 o'clock, you're going to get back here about 3 o'clock. So it works out quite nicely. So gain a little bit of time. So that's it for now. But we'll try to keep this moving fast. Hard to totally estimate where plane ticket prices are going to go up or down, but usually best to just lock that sucker in when you find something that's decent.
Right.
So that's it.
All
But
right.
stay in
Barry?
touch.
Will?
Nothing tonight.
Erica? Nice presentation. Our officer? Anything from the media? TJ?
Good to be back. Thanks for taking care of Kiwi while she covered. Like I said, I had some travel for my son's wrestling and sporting events as the kids are getting older. So, nice thing about having other attorneys in the office who are competent and well versed in other areas. So, other than that, I wonder how Ken's German is. If he said he was talking to him on the phone.
As I told somebody today, their English is a lot better than what we know. So it's quite nice.
Other than that, nothing. Have a good night.
We didn't get the credit card. Jeff and I didn't get it. She didn't release it.
She didn't release the credit card?
No,
Oh, man.
For our birthday, she said no. So.
Well, I had said if you submitted the invoice, then we would go ahead and just reimburse you. So that must have got lost in translation. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Sonny.
Andrew?
Just a couple things. One, wanted to mention, I got word from Sturgis Neighborhood Program that they were awarded a grant through MISTA and are going to be doing a neighbor-to-neighbor home improvement program. So they put some information out on that, I believe. So that's exciting. Should be some information on when that what that process is and those types of things. It provides people with the ability to do some homeowner rehabilitation for income qualified homeowners. So that was exciting to hear. Wanted to mention some things going on at Sturgis Young. Cinema Circle is going to be featuring Star Wars, the original Episode 4, tomorrow, February 26th. Wind Symphony is coming up on March 1st. And Jukebox Saturday Night is the next performance series on March 7th. It's kind of big band era music and things of that nature. So if you're into that kind of thing.
Mancini is the focus.
Yeah, Mancini is
More
the
than,
focus.
more than
Others.
that big band.
Okay.
Old,
Okay.
I think, that's the idea.
I know it's, even for me, the name of the group kind of was like, I was thinking something
Yeah,
different.
but
So
when
I
they
wanted
said
to make
Henry
sure.
Mancini, at least that
Yeah.
sounded something.
Yeah.
I'll find out.
So in any case, continuing to have a lot of exciting things going on at Sturgis Young. Mention one last time for anybody who's interested, the MPPA meeting in Lansing, that's Thursday, March 14th. I believe Kathy, Linda, and I are signed up right now. Kind of a one-day affair.
Oh, the May one.
Yep, the May one. Yep. So that we're the ones signed up now. If you want to get signed up, please let me know really after the meeting so I can have Julie sign us up. I know we've been signed up already, but want to make sure we lock that in. And then just a note that next commission meeting is going to be Monday, March 9th instead of the 11th. That's because MML is that Wednesday. So several of us will be at MML for the day in Lansing. So the meeting's moved to Monday. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Commissioner Harrington?
Nothing else.
Commissioner Adams? Commissioner Moore?
Nope, not tonight.
Commissioner Wiki?
I just want to appreciate all the Lions blue in the room. Go Lions.
My eyes looked at Matt Craven's shirt, and I saw a Lions shirt, even though it's not. That's what I saw.
Commissioner Miller?
That's what I changed it to. Big thank you to Doyle's staff team for the daddy-daughter dance. That was another great event. It was kind of switched up this year, switched sides. But it was great, and it took a lot of volunteers, obviously, too. The Key Club was there in force. They've got 140 members at Sturgis High School. That's a high proportion of the high school, and they had a lot of the volunteers there helping out that night. And it was an amazing showing from the community, so I was happy to see that. Had a great time. Another thing I'm grateful for, we talked about roads this evening, and roads don't stop getting talked about ever, really. And just the other day, thinking about road quality on my way home from Kalamazoo back home, and I was thinking about this road and that road as I drove over them. I'm grateful the voters of the county at one time decided on an approval of 1 mil that we benefit from too as a city. And the city has done a good job, in my view, of taking care of those funds and making sure that they go to good improvements. And we, specifically in the city of Sturgis, are also blessed to be entrusted by the voters twice now, for 10 years at a time, the 3 mills in addition to that 1 mil. And that's a credit to Barry and all the team here that makes it happen. But I'm grateful that our voters have said at the polls that they value road funding. And I just thought of the alternative, if we didn't have those millages, where we'd be at, and I don't want to know. So I'm grateful for those. I think the city has done a fantastic job at doing a good job with the funds with that. So I'm grateful.
Thank you. Commissioner Burr?
Yeah, I'd like to share with the commission a little bit. Commissioner Abbs and I were at Bill Review Monday, and the issue came up about the investigation, the ongoing investigation at the Doyle is that around the community, people are asking questions. And I had asked Andrew where it was at. Maybe he'd like to respond to that.
Sure, Commissioner Burr. Investigation's ongoing, and as soon as I have information to share with the commission, I'll do so.
I thought you said it was completed. They're compiling information.
Investigation's ongoing, they're compiling information, and I'll update the commission when I have the information to do so.
You're sticking with that?
I am.
Okay. Nothing more.
Commissioner Smith?
Tomorrow's National Pistachio Day, so let's just go nuts. That's it.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, at our last meeting, we had Frederick Construction was here, along with ABB. We were talking about the electric department's new building that's going to be coming up. And I thought it was kind of odd that they were here, even though they were not selected. And so I caught up with them after the meeting just to ask a question. And it was very odd to me that they came and presented and said some things in the visitor comments section, and that's the only reason why I was compelled to even talk to them. What we did learn, and I asked several questions of Chris and others while the meeting was going on, but Frederick has been a good partner to the city, and I was just curious. It really struck me when they came up and said the things that they said, even though they weren't selected, they were here. And I didn't know if there was a fractured relationship between the city and Frederick at all. They've told me that there is none at all, which is good, and they just want to be good partners and all that kind of thing. What I want to state here is that they were low bidder by $66,000 and have done projects within our city and even with the city. I don't know all of them, but I know there have been several where they've been project managers, construction managers. And I'm still scratching my head as to why, and I never really got the real answers on that. And I guess my whole point in saying this is that if staff brings a recommendation to us that is not low bid on projects and similar things like this, if it's to deal with a local company, and I understand we can do that within a certain percentage, 5% or something like this, or whatever it is. But this has nothing to do with that. it was just on preference, and from what I get from Frederick is that they've not worked with, was it Garfani, the company that was? Ghaffari, okay. They had not done much with them, and they think that that might be the reason why they might have not selected them and went with someone else perhaps, but we don't have, from what I understand, we don't have any real negativity with them, so I'm just here to say that if that does come up in the future, that I will ask several more questions, I think, and get a better understanding before the vote comes, before I give my vote, I guess. Because, again, it's real money. We talked about with Barry tonight on the street project, there's $53,000 that we're going to be paying to is it Fleet and Vandenbrink for doing the management services there, which was not allocated for, we didn't have that in the budget for this thing at the beginning. And makes sense. I mean, it really makes sense with the situation that we're in. This, however, it hit me kind of wrong. So when things like this do come up, I'm going to have more questions, I guess. Just as I don't want to say a forewarning, because staff does a great job of always going with low bid when they should. And when they don't, there's a very, very good reason. I just never got that very, very good reason for this particular one. So moving forward, I will be probably having more questions if that does come to the commission.
Are you looking for a reason?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not tonight. I mean, Chris gave, Electric, they gave their answers to me as to why I just still didn't quite understand. I still don't quite understand why, especially with somebody that we haven't used before on a project either. So we have no history with, we have a long history with the low bidder. So it really struck me as odd.
Gotcha.
So, and maybe there's things that I don't know. Like I said, I just talked to the guys from Frederick, so I haven't even talked to the city for the perspective on that, other than asking the questions in meeting and got answers, but not really the types that we're looking for. So, that's it. I would hope, Ken, that if you were talking about the German trip, if it does happen that you find, I don't want you to think about me individually, but please keep that in mind, that if it is early on Saturday, to let me know, because I may have to back out.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it might make a difference there for you.
Yeah, if you can just take a look at what is your availability? Where are you going to be?
Graduation's typically like 1, 2 in the afternoon.
Okay.
I don't know for sure exactly.
Where is that?
Trying.
Okay.
In Goa.
So, okay. So that's closer to Detroit. So if,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. If I can make it work, I'm going to make it work as best as possible.
Yeah.
But don't alter the trip of 13 other people. Because
absolutely. This is a group trip, and you do have to keep that in mind. But, but if it can be accommodated, why not? So,
right.
Yeah. Okay, great.
But if it comes to it and it is, just let me know, and I can evaluate whether I can still do it. And if I can't,
Sure.
I can't.
For sure.
I'd hate for that to happen, because I really want to.
Yeah. No.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But with that, I'll just, I found something this week, and all it said was, do good because it matters, not because it gets noticed. So let's all be kind to one another.
All right. Hey, in my life, soccer seems to, between volleyball and soccer, seems to rule my world right now. But I start my 20th year at Sturgis Youth Soccer Organization. I never thought that I'd be part of SISO or be on the board for so long, but I guess the patience has paid off, because we're working with a premier club to be part of our community. We are in a process. SYSO, the board has signed off, as well as Sturgis Youth, Sturgis FC, which is our travel team, to partner with this premier club. And it will instantly give our kids in the area access to the Directors Academy format, so that they could play at a higher competition. And that will open the gates to those soccer players who want to play on a premier or an elite academy, like my current son, like my son plays. He plays at the highest level. I'm assuming that when word gets out, our SISO program will probably grow, because we're going to basically feed this club, you know, some of the best soccer players in the area, which will give them an opportunity to compete at the highest level. And then at the same time, we would still have SISO to do scholarships for those kids because it is expensive. My son playing at the high level means he's traveling to Florida, he's traveling to St. Louis, we're going to Utah here in a couple weeks. So that's exciting. I can just see I've also envisioned an indoor soccer facility for quite some time, and I can kind of see that might come to fruition. Not now, but as this partnership grows, I could see something like that come into this part of our area. So just wanted to share that with you. Also want to share with you that this weekend at Southwest Michigan Beauty School, we are having an event for a student that we lost about 4 weeks ago due to the snow storms that we've had. She was 19, 20 years old, 2 weeks away from graduating. Went home, clocked out, went home, and never made it home. But the school and the students have decided to do a cut-a-thon in her memory to help the parents with the cost of the funeral, and they have a lot of gift bags that local salons have donated, and whatever is raised on Saturday will go toward her funeral costs. So anyone wants a haircut or a service or wants to bid on any of the items, please feel free to stop on by. And with that, I still a lot of things still happen in the nation, but it's always good to do this kind of work with all of you. And we have great staff. Often get a lot of compliments on our staff doing their work. So you guys have a good rest of your work week. Meeting adjourned.
We got more behind. Can't see.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we
I
have more
haven't noticed
behind.
that.
Can't see.